Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett doesn't just clap back, she detonates the entire Republican narrative. In a hearing meant to discuss visas, Crockett exposes the hypocrisy behind the Trump family's so-called integrity, and she does it by spotlighting Melania Trump's infamous Einstein Visa. Buckle up, this one gets embarrassing for the GOP fast.
Gentleman yields. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Texas, Ms. Crockett.
Thank you so much. It's interesting that we're being accused of wanting all kinds of criminals to be on the streets, or that we don't believe that people should show up to their meetings and appointments. Last time I checked, there's a lot of people that are actually being grabbed as they are going in for their appointments. In fact, we know that one of the candidates that was recently running in this mayoral, he ended up being arrested because he decided that he was actually going to escort people that are actually showing up to their meetings. Or we know that the Pope, yes, the Pope himself, decided that the church may need to have people that are going to escort people as they're going into their meetings, because the reality is that what they are claiming what they want to do versus what they're actually doing, the actions don't match up. And while we are supposed to be talking about visas, somehow we continue to cherry pick and talk about one criminal act and another criminal act. And it is so very interesting to me that, yes, we will say people are xenophobic, because when you start to decide that just because somebody came from another country, they are automatically some kind of criminal, that does sound kind of xenophobic to me, because you are using a paintbrush to paint an entire group of people where the vast majority of them are coming here because they are actually seeking a better life. But let me get to what this hearing is supposed to be about. The idea that Trump and my Republican colleagues want to restore integrity and security in the visa process is actually a joke. Let me be clear. Integrity is not snatching lawful visa holders off the streets and throwing them into unmarked vans. Integrity is not revoking visas based on social media posts that hurt somebody's little feelings because kids decide that they want to go after Trump or this administration. We have a thing called free speech in this country. And since we're talking about integrity, I'm confused as to why my Republican colleagues aren't talking about the lack of integrity when it comes to the president's family's visas. Let me remind y'all that Melania, the first lady, a model, and when I say model, I'm not talking about Tyra Banks, Cindy Crawford, or Naomi Campbell level, applied for and was given an EB-1 visa. And that stands for is an Einstein Visa. Now, y'all that don't know, let me tell you how you receive an Einstein Visa. You're supposed to have some sort of significant achievement, like being awarded a Nobel Peace Prize or a Pulitzer, being an Olympic medalist, or having other sustained extraordinary abilities and success in sciences, arts, education, business, or athletics. Last time I checked, the First Lady had none of those accolades under her belt. It doesn't take an Einstein to see that the math ain't mathin' here. Nevertheless, what Republicans are doing with this reconciliation process, the travel bans and revoking visas, jeopardizes our national security. It threatens our communities, our higher education, and our economy. Visas like the largely vetted J visas for higher education and M visas for trade, training, attract the next innovators, medical providers, researchers, and educators that we need to build on American success. I'm not gonna mess up your name, so I'm not doing that. But I'm with you, okay? In your experience, do individuals on J or M visas typically improve or impair our economy?
They generally improve the economy, and I can give a brief example. My wife is a very successful woman. She makes a ton of money, which I'm grateful for. And the reason why we're able to do that while having 3 children is because of the au pair visa, somebody who is here on a J, who is here and able to supply this for us. But I also want to defend Melania real quick. Not everybody could marry Donald Trump, and I think that's quite an achievement. So I think she deserves credit for that. Nobody up here could have done it.
You sure right, I couldn't do it. But anyway, in fact, J visa holders contribute $43.8 billion to the U.S. economy and support more than 300,000 jobs. And make no mistake, immigrants improve the health of U.S. citizens too. Despite the fact we already have a doctor's shortage, Trump's reckless travel ban and visa overhaul are exacerbating this crisis by impairing hundreds of hospitals with foreign-trained doctors set to do their residencies here in the United States, meaning fewer people will get the help they need and more people will die. Now, let me remind you that Republicans are trying to gut Medicaid. Roughly 4.5 million people receive caregiver services through Medicaid, and most of these folks are in red states. And wouldn't you know that in 2023, Kaiser Family Foundation estimated that almost 30% of long-term care providers or home caretakers were immigrants. It's like Republicans want Americans to suffer. Now, Republicans say visas make us less secure, but let's talk about how visas given to victims of crimes like rape, murder, human trafficking, torture, abduction, kidnapping, to help law enforcement with their investigation or prosecutions of these crimes. These folks are risking their own security for broader safety of Americans and our communities. Thank you so much. I will yield.
Gentlelady yields, and our chair now recognizes himself.
What Jasmine Crockett pulled off in that hearing is exactly why Republicans can't stand her, because she refuses to let them rewrite reality. The GOP walked into that room ready to fearmonger about immigrants, ready to pretend they alone care about integrity. And Crockett dismantled that talking point with a precision they never saw coming. She doesn't just highlight their hypocrisy, she weaponizes it. When she brings up Melania Trump's so-called Einstein Visa, you can practically hear the air leave the room, because Crockett is pointing to the one thing Republicans never want to confront. Their own rules only seem to apply to everyone except them. They call asylum seekers criminals, but look the other way when a first lady with zero extraordinary achievements magically gets a visa reserved for Nobel Prize winners and Olympic athletes. Crockett shifts the conversation back to reality, how immigrants holding J and M visas strengthen our economy, keep our hospitals functioning, and literally save American lives. Meanwhile, the GOP is busy spreading fear, tearing apart families, and undermining the very workforce this country depends on. And Crockett hits them where it hurts. Their policies don't protect Americans, they hurt Americans. From blocking foreign-trained doctors to gutting caregiving programs, Republicans aren't defending national security, they're manufacturing chaos. This hearing wasn't just about visas. It was about exposing the double standards, the xenophobia, and the outright dishonesty the GOP uses to justify cruelty. And Jasmine Crockett walked in prepared, armed with facts, and absolutely fearless. This is what accountability looks like. This is what leadership sounds like. And this is exactly why they're terrified of her.